and there's no ether gusts. All right, so here we are, game 3 in progress. Pascual looks to have a pretty significant lead here. Terror of the Peaks and Omnath on the table. Burchett, just a lonely Lotus Cobra, and also a couple copies of Confounding Conundrum for Pascual. It's going to make it tough to do too much with the Cobra.
Yeah, I think that honestly, Confounding Conundrum as a mirror breaker. I mean, when it was first previewed, everyone's just like, okay, this card's like okay against ramp, but it doesn't really do much. Like there's actual ramp effects like Uro and stuff. If you get it down early, it can kind of stifle their development by just making their things that accelerate them not accelerate them. But if you don't put Confounding Conundrum in a deck that has like closing speed, the ramp decks can eventually just find enough mana to just cast all their stuff. And thanks to Lotus Cobra and Omnath and fetch lands and stuff, you can bounce a land and it doesn't really matter. 2 Confounding Conundrum, however, really sets you back and makes it so that stuff like fetch lands are actively horrible. So you have to be very careful.
So immediately I surveyed the battlefield, and apologies, I build this as a 75 card mirror. That's very obviously not true. The same deck list was just posted twice, to the extent that matters. But anyway, looks like the deck list I was looking at is pretty advantaged here as Burchett fighting uphill against all this pressure.
Yeah, so Omnath on the battlefield, Shark Typhoon in hand, Terror of the Peaks at the ready. I don't really know of a way for Autumn out of this. The 2 Confounding Conundrums makes it so that you probably can't get like a really cool Omnath turn going. Uro and things like that are just not nearly as potent. Mm-hmm. And with Autumn at 6, what's the best play here? Is it just Uro from the graveyard and hope for the best? Uro plus Glasspool Mimic to copy it just so you gain an extra 6 or 3 life? It seems pretty loose.
Against the Conundrums, and also just against the pressure on the battlefield with the Terror, it's almost a spot where if Burchett starts going heavy on any kind of ramp effect, they basically need to win this turn because of the pressure of returning the lands. And there's sometimes ways for these decks to do that, even from these positions where you're this far behind. But starting on Uro and against an opponent with so much life, having so little of their own, I don't know if I'm seeing Burchett get in there.
Yeah, I think so. The problem here is that Terror of the Peaks needs to be killed or removed from the battlefield. Otherwise, just a big cycled Shark Typhoon is actually enough to do some major damage. It's not quite lethal by itself, but when combined with the attack from Terror of the Peaks, I think it's well more than enough. And then now with Omnath, the land, and the Cultivate, it should be just about enough to do whatever Pascual wants.
So there is the first land. Here's an attack with a Terror. Burchett down to 4.
Easy cycle. Easy GG. Book it. Tony, Ramus, Pascual into the top 4. Autumn Burchett's run here going to be cut short.
Yeah, after that Terror connects, you have to be really confident that this Typhoon is just going to close it. You don't want to leave anything on the table. Definitely a high-pressure match, but yeah, let's get a big shark. Let's take 7 damage upstairs. And Tony Ramis Pascual is going to advance to our top 4 today. I believe that's going to mean the qualification. I don't know.